why don't you lead us off?
Okay, I will. Thanks, Dave, for doing this. If you could, just your initial reaction first when the postponement till March 30th, and then the entire season. Your thoughts on how that hit you.
Well, I mean, that's a tough question to answer, really. It's start getting wind of it a little bit after our game on that Wednesday against Grand Canyon. It was a great win, turned double play to keep that lead and win the game. And then, the next day we're supposed to fly out to Starkville and start getting some texts and some phone calls in the morning. And then obviously we were put on hold. Pretty much knew what was going to happen there as far as canceling the series and then maybe canceling some of the season. And I don't know, I guess my first reaction was, how are the players going to feel? These guys work hard. I think we were just starting to gel a little bit. We really started getting some of our younger players involved on the mound and won a few games in a row after losing a couple of tight games. And it just seemed like things were going good. There was just a good feel. And then, then after we were shut down, I think behind closed doors, we were thinking we're done. And then, then we got the word of the, basically postponing everything for a couple of weeks, and then it moved to another couple of weeks, and basically when are they just going to tell us this is over? And with our sport and most sports, you've got to train. You got to train for a day to get to a certain point with pitchers' arms and number of pitches, and hitters have to swing that bat almost every day a lot to keep sharp and continue to get better. And see live pitching, and you're thinking, well, if we did get to start again, with practice in the middle of April, how long is it going to take to get everybody ready? And then so you kind of knew that it was going to go away. But just really disappointed for the players. I mean, they spent so much time, and when I met with them on that Friday, our staff, I want the whole staff to be up front with me. Normally, a lot of times when I speak to them, we're scattered around the coaches are scattered around the locker room. I wanted them up front with me because I just knew what they were going to see. I wanted them to see what I was going to see, and just the looks on their faces were just devastating, really. I normally I stand up when I talk to the team. I sat down because it was tough, and I just feel bad for the guys that maybe skip playing pro ball to come here, and some of the guys that were about to set records. Heston Kerstad, we'll get to see that guy swing the bat in a Razorback uniform again, and what a pleasure that was. I mean, that kid had 6 home runs and 20 RBIs already. I think he might have broke the home run record before it was over with. He was starting to heat up. The weather started to change. I think he'd hit mid-20s to 30 home runs this year. I truly do. So, a little disappointed there with just all of these guys. So, and I could go on, but it's just really hard for me to look at the players and their reaction. I think they were just in shock.
Okay. Well, the competition is through for the season, but suppose in all clearance, given some mid-April, late April, May, is it practical to have the kids back on campus to finish school and just practice to keep them in their routine? Can you picture what that might look like?
Well, the very first day we could practice was April 15th, so obviously for us to be able to practice, we have to be cleared to do that again, I'm sure, and I'm sure some dates are going to move. But if we can practice with the kids just for development's sake, with the younger guys, we want to work out and get them ready maybe for summer ball, and then the older guys or some of the guys that are going to be high draft choices are going to sign, we'd like to help them get ready for their next step in baseball, and we'll do whatever we can do. But if we're cleared to practice and they can come back to campus now, I don't know where it's going to be in a couple of weeks, and we'll just have to play that by ear. But we're prepared to do that. I mean, that's what we do this time of year. I mean, we work with kids, and we try to get them ready for a game or summer ball or whatever the case may be. Most of our kids, have gone home. We were encouraged to try to get our kids back to their homes, and some of them, for one reason or another, either couldn't get there right away or have stayed for a while and are going to stay until they're told 100% they need to get out of here. So we're just trying to keep track of them, and our biggest issue right now is just making sure these kids are finishing up their classes, staying on top of everything, and don't get themselves into a bind.
Okay, I'm ready to pass the baton on and maybe come back later. Thanks.
Kyle Deckelbaum.
Yeah, Coach, you kind of hinted at this, but we may have seen guys like Heston Kerstad and Casey Martin swing a bat for the last time in a Razorback uniform. Can you give us kind of some insight into what your discussions have been like with them?
Well, I haven't discussed anything with them as far as that goes. I just know how highly those guys are going to be sought after in the draft, and the kind of money that's going to be out there, and they're going to sign a contract and ready to move on to the next level. I don't expect probably 3 of our guys for sure to come back, and that would be both of the Caseys and Heston Kerstad. I would think those 3 guys will probably sign a professional contract, some for sure, and there's a couple others that are iffy, and I think there's a lot depends on where they get drafted and how much money and what status are they? Are they a junior? Are they a senior? Or are they get to be a junior again? Things like that.
How tough is that to see their college careers kind of end in this fashion for you?
Well, for me personally, you just didn't get to finish the book. You got guys that possibly could have been in the record books forever here, and a team that had been to Omaha 2 years in a row, and is going to try to get there 3, obviously, and it's hard to get there 1 year in a row, and we don't get a chance to accomplish that. Just seeing guys like Casey Opich catch, probably not a better receiver in the country, and then Casey Martin, who has really battled through some things as far as on the field, and I think that he was really starting to come out of it, and I think we were getting ready to see the best of him, and I really liked the way he had handled all the pressure and his demeanor, even when he wasn't having a good day, compared to maybe last year when it didn't go good for him, just the growth mentally for him and the development to be able to handle the tough days. And I think he was getting ready to take off, and he'd shown that a little bit last week. It's just hard, and there's other guys too. There's some guys having some great years. Christian Franklin made a huge jump, sitting about 400 on the year, and want him to keep developing and have that special junior year, and so there's a bunch of them.
Thanks, Coach.
Scotty?
Yeah, Coach, I figure you guys by this point are a pretty tight-knit group. I'm wondering what it's like being around these guys and now, just not really getting to interact with them.
Yeah, it's like you're used to being around them every day, like you said, and as coaches, whether usually this time of year we're traveling, we're in hotels, we're on the road more than any sport. At the university, I would think, with 6 days on and 1 day off, and the 1 day off, those guys come to the field. They like being down there. They like being in the locker room. They'll do things on their own. It's pretty much a seven days a week for them, and at this time of year, the camaraderie of your locker room and just being around everybody. It's just kind of a way of life. I always talk about it as far as people will talk about my job, and I just see it as a way of life. I don't really see it as a job, and I think they feel the same way. This is a way of life for them, and it's just kind of really getting going. A lot of them will play pro ball for a long time, and then move on and do something else. A lot of them get back into coaching, but that's probably the thing that you talk to any athlete that they miss is the locker room or being around the guys, and just the whole atmosphere and the camaraderie. And I think that we've got a good locker room. The guys want to be there. So I think, for me personally, I miss it already. I mean, and I can imagine what they're going through as well.
Appreciate it.
Nate?
I guess, Dave, can you assure that they'll have a draft? I mean, could you see, because of the Major League season being delayed, that the draft would get delayed as well?
Oh, they'll have a draft. They already know who they want to take. You read all these things about the draft being pushed back, and that could happen. Or, you read that they need to evaluate these kids anymore. Really? Do they really need to evaluate them more? Maybe some of the middle of the road guys, but they know who the first and second, third round is. They ought to do is just cut down the draft. They don't need 40 rounds anyway. They just start plucking guys off in the 30th round, selecting names on the board. Half their scouts haven't seen those guys or know about them, and they're just taking guys, and sometimes don't even try to sign them. But just take 20 rounds, take 25 rounds, take 15 rounds, and that's the way I see it. I've talked to a couple individuals in professional baseball, and I don't feel like I got the impression that they want to move the draft back. Just draft the kids and get them in your organization if you're going to sign them. If they move the draft back, then it really messes with college baseball again. Back to the same old problem we used to have, where they had all the way until August 15th to sign them, and they'd sign them all on the 14th, and then we're left holding the bag. We don't have time to replace kids, and trying to figure out what to do. And so that's college coach talking there. So I don't know what's going to happen, but they'll have a draft. And if they move it back, I really don't know why they're moving it back, because they don't know if there's going to be summer baseball or more evaluation. So they've been watching our kids since they were in high school, and they can make some decisions. I think that the tough decisions may be on the up-and-comers or late bloomers, but they've got video, they've got all kinds of things that they can take care of.
And as far as recruiting, just kind of where does that put you, especially not knowing if, maybe a couple of your seniors could be back, and just, what can you do this summer with no summer, possibly no summer, travel league teams to evaluate and stuff?
So you're asking me about recruiting?
Well, I mean, just, recruiting in general now, because I guess everything is, even those travel league games in high school, all that kind of suspended. Just kind of, what do you do on that now?
Well, the 20 class is getting ready to come in, and then the 21 class, you have the 22 class, so that's the juniors and the sophomores. And we're pretty much done with the 21 class. The 22 class is well on its way. We're starting dealing with, the 23 class. I don't think there's any panic on our end, and I don't think most of the teams in the country that have been out working or have got guys lined up. It slows us down maybe for some of those younger guys, but we're just really, our main concern is trying to figure out our roster for this coming fall, and what are the new stipulations, and what's going to go on with scholarships, what's going to go on with counters, and number we can have on the roster, and are we getting more scholarship, and is everybody going to get their gear back? I mean, how unfair would it be that you were a freshman and you had 7 at-bats or 2 at-bats, and you're starting to get to play now, because that's what's going on. And they're telling, if you don't get this year back, it doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't just be for seniors. It should be for everybody that was on the team.
Thanks.
Alyssa?
Hey, Coach. Talking to Tom Hart yesterday, and he mentioned he would like to see maybe fall ball get extended. You played some games against some teams in the fall, and that obviously had a really good reception from the fans. Would you like to see maybe fall be extended, play some more games in the fall against other schools because of the absence of the spring?
Well, we've talked about that. We talked about that right when this went down, that normally fall ball we get a 45-day window, and we get approximately 28, 29 practice days, so we'd have to give them some full days off in there. and we can play 2 outside scrimmages type games with, just 2. So I would like to see that maybe jump to 6 or 8. We don't have to play that many, but have that option. I think it will give some of our guys an opportunity to see where they're at against outside competition, and maybe open some eyes to some of the other guys in the program, and, that aren't getting to play, and they're going to figure some things out there. I would like, instead of 45-day window, maybe we get, another 2 weeks in there or 3 weeks in there, and have that option. In our case, I'd probably like to bring kids in if everything was clear, bring them back in August and maybe start working out. So, we could still get off the field around the same time, late October, but have more practice in and get these guys going. There's just so many things, so many unknowns now. I'd love everybody to come in for the second session of summer school, and we can start practicing then, especially if there's not summer ball going on. So, we would love to have at least have the option to expand our fall practice.
And then lastly, as I've asked all the coaches, just how are you spending all this free time you now find yourself having?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of it's almost like you're going through withdrawal a little bit, because you're in such a routine and it's such a race. From the time we throw the first pitch in mid-February to the last game of the season, it's such a routine, and you finish the season. Usually, you meet with your team and you have individual meetings with kids, and you get to hug everybody and thank them, and we haven't got to do that. It's kind of strange. When we do get to get everybody back together, is everybody going to get to campus at the same time? Are they going to come to campus? It's just a really strange feeling. But what am I doing? I mean, I'm on the phone a lot, talking to other coaches. I've been up to the office some, and in and out of there, and exercising, working down on my land, and just trying to break a sweat so I can calm down a little bit.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Bob?
Hey, Dave. How you doing, man?
Hey, Bob. Yeah.
I got dropped for a short time, but I think I'm okay. Hey, talking about the scholarships, Arkansas and the SEC schools, obviously, I think would have the financial wherewithal, but how do you think that would work? Because you guys, what do you get, 11.7? I mean, could you see them at least for a couple of years expanding scholarships and rosters? How would you see that work?
I would think that we will. I think that it would have to. I think it needs to be spread out, maybe over 4 years. A complete cycle where you could taper it down, stair-step it down. Example, if we got a certain amount in the 2021, maybe we get a little bit less the next year, and the next year, and then back to wherever we need to be, 11.7. We need more than that anyway, but that's another story. With the other, I think when you get to some of the other conferences, and when it comes to a vote, they're going to maybe vote against it. But, I think hopefully the powers, the Big Five will say, you do what you want to do, we're going to do what we want to do. I think it's coming to that one day. That's my opinion. I think that the NCAA should give us what we need to do to take care of the kids, because this has been such a point of emphasis over the last 3 or 4 years, is taking care of the student athlete and doing everything for them. And there's many rules that have been changed, and a lot of things that have moved in that direction. So why would you not do it again? If those other schools do not want to give more scholarships, they don't have to. They can make their own choice there. And they just need to do right by the student athlete, because that's where everything's gone the last 5 years.
Are you, I don't know, it's not like clink press, but are you just down about everything? Are you optimistic that things are going to get back to normal at some point for everybody?
Oh, I know they're going to get back to normal. I mean, this will get under control. I mean, I'm very optimistic. I'm just ready for, like everybody else, I would think, to know what is the plan. When is this? Obviously, we're going to get this to move on, and start trending upward. But each individual sport, I'm sure they feel the same way. We want to know what to do. We want to know how many scholarships we're going to have. We want to know that everybody is going to get their year back. We need to know all these things so we can start putting our roster together. The student athlete needs to know these things so they'll know where they stand. Are they going to be a status of a sophomore again or a junior again? And it gives them an opportunity to start thinking about, am I going to sign professional? Am I coming back? Us as coaches, we can work the roster out. We can get it right. Doesn't mean you have to have 55 or 60 kids on your roster. There will be adjustments made. I think there needs to be, for a year or two, there's going to need to be adjustment in the APR and counters and non-counters and kids that transfer out, because there's going to be kids that are going to transfer out because someone in their position is coming back again and they didn't think they were, and now they're not going to get to play again, and so it didn't hurt us. There's just a lot of questions out there right now. That's probably, I'm just I just want to know the facts and I can move with it, and that's my personality.
Tom, do you have any more questions?
Yes, Dave, it just so happened that the last game was your 700th win in Arkansas. So during this downtime, we're probably going to do a little retrospective on your having 700 wins under your belt here, and just top of your head, maybe some of your favorite wins over all these years, favorite moments.
Oh, there's been a bunch of them. I mean, there's been so many. Oh gosh, you could start back in. The first game of the year, 2003, when we beat Creighton, and this was a game that was not scheduled, and we scheduled it, and I knew they had a good club because I had just come from up that way, and we beat them pretty good. That was exciting, and there were many throughout the years. The 2004 season was magical. That was a team that didn't have a bunch of big leaguers, but had a bunch of winners on that team, and that was a combo of a lot of players that Coach O'Brien and his staff had in here, and some of the new guys, and they gelled really well. And obviously the big win when Brady Hughes hit the home run. That's something that you couldn't really hardly draw that one up. Just all that went down. Wichita State leaving their closer in the bullpen, who's left-handed. Brady Hughes hits left-handed. He went out to get him, and next thing you know, he pats the pitcher on the rear end and runs back to the dugout. And I'm thinking, wow, he's leaving him out there. First pitch leaves the park, and we're winning. And I think that was probably one of the biggest wins in program history to kind of jumpstart us, because it ended up leading to another win and then two more wins, and we found ourselves in Omaha. And that team was projected to finish last in the West and like 11th out of 12th overall, and we ended up winning. So it was pretty exciting. Many games in there. The Baylor series, the Super Regional down there was amazing. It was 100 degrees. Game started at 8 o'clock, and it's still 100 degrees, 99 degrees. The dugout we were in the whole time, the sun was right in our face, and they smoked us in game one. We came back and won the next two games, and that was amazing. James McCann's walk-off home run against LSU, game 0-0 going into the ninth, winds blowing straight in for the most part, and they scored 3 runs in the ninth, and they think it's over. And then we come back, and I don't know, we ended up scoring 4 or 5 with the home run, the grand slam, won that game, ended up sweeping the series. That was huge for us. And I remember we hit a grand slam with 2 outs, pinch hitter in the bottom of the ninth against South Carolina. Brought a freshman in to pinch hit. Left-handed hitter, wind was lightly blowing to right, and he kind of backspun and blew out of the park. Instead of losing Friday night, we ended up winning Friday, and then we swept the series against a really good South Carolina team. And so many lately. Those are some that were down the road. Just so many games the last 4 or 5 years that have been super exciting. I probably have to sit down and think about it a little bit, but it's like I tell you, I'm proud of the 700 wins at the University of Arkansas, but I'm just proud of the players because they get it done on the field. We just try to put them in a position to succeed, and we've had a lot of guys succeed here, and it's been a lot of fun.
Appreciate that, Dave.
Okay.
Any more questions for Coach Van Horn?
Hey, Dave, this is Bob. You must remember what you had for dinner 45 days ago or something.
I don't eat dinner a whole lot, Bob, to be honest with you. But you know what, Bob? I knew that you would ask one more question. That was going to happen.
I was just memory. I was trying to help the things myself, you know. But I know your guy stays in shape, but you guys like us, we're in that target age they talk about for the virus. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling good physically and everything?
Most of the time, you know, for the most part. But yeah, I've been reminded that many times by my wife that I'm that person that can get it and could be in trouble. So I'm watching out. I'm keeping my distance.
And I've read things where other coaches' wives are kind of, I think, jokingly complain about having their husbands home so much. But is it kind of nice to spend some? And I know it's not a good reason, but is it nice to spend some extra time with your wife when you're gone so much?
Yeah, it is. You know, except the long list of to do things she's given me. But other than that, it's been all good.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right, last call for Coach Van Horn. All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you, guys.